John Henry Barr.
Wasn't sure if I was heard. Am I on mute? It's Elizabeth.
Okay, Elizabeth, gotcha.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. President Michael McClure.
Here.
Vice President Bruce Young.
Here.
Vice President Tamisha Smith.
Here.
Vice President Dr. Karen Cordolino.
Here.
Immediate past President Daniel Sinclair.
Here.
While the attendance is being tallied, I remind you that alternates have floor privileges, but not voting privileges. Alternates are welcome to participate in discussion, but may not make or second a motion. Alternates have the privilege of voting when the delegate is absent. Further, we ask that all mute your microphones until you want to speak. If you are calling in by telephone, you will be given an opportunity to speak, ask questions when indicated by the president. Your colleagues appreciate this thoughtful gesture. Do we have a quorum?
Mr. President, we have 18 counties represented. We have Urban Boards Committee represented and 5 officers. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Anne Marie. At this time, I will open it up an opportunity for any member of the public that is a non-board of director member or an alternate to speak. In pursuit of NJSBA's policy GO 1120 and 1120R, members of the public may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. If the board of directors members or alternates would like to speak on a non-agenda item, please hold your comments until the unfinished or new business. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak at this time? Hearing none, I'll move on to number 8. Recognizing of our retiree and our new members. I would now like to acknowledge retiring members. Members Dr. Ann Erickson and Noel Nylor, who represent Atlantic County, and Erica Jaco, who represents Essex County, for their service to the students of New Jersey through their dedication and work on their local boards of education and for New Jersey School Boards Association. Dr. Erickson is in participation for her dedication, not only for her local school board of education, but also for the state and national board of education. Is Ann on tonight?
I don't think so. Ann,
you out there?
She's not feeling well. Unfortunately, she's not here with us tonight.
Okay.
So we had a nice plaque for Ann, and we were going to give her some time to speak. So I would like to at least read the plaque, even though she isn't here. It says, to Dr. Ann Erickson, in grateful appreciation of her devoted service to the New Jersey School Boards Association as a board of director member, and for her dedication to the education, welfare of the youth of this state, September 25th, 2020. We thank her for her services. This time I'm going to recognize a new member. The following members have been elected or re-elected to serve as members from alternate positions.
Or they've been elected.
Or they've been elected to the position.
The members.
Right. Either or all the above. How's that? So we'll start off with Atlantic County. Amy Hassan from Hamilton. Jerome Page from Pleasantville is an alternate. Bergen County. Shelley Dansky, River Edge, elected to members position from an alternate. And Clara Williams, Teaneck, is an alternate.
Hear it, but I don't know.
Essex County, please mute yourself, not muted. Essex County is Shane Berger, Bloomfield, elected to member position from alternate. And Sharon Cutler, South Orange, Maplewood as an alternate.
You can on.
Gloucester County, Jennifer Calvalero for Kingsway Regional as an alternate. Hudson County, Maria Matisse from Guttenberg member. She's going to be a member. And then Hassan Jafar, North Bergen alternate. Passaic County is Nancy Schwartz, Pompton Lakes elected to a member position from an alternate. And Joseph Canova from Clifton as an alternate. Urban Boards, Diane Johnson, Pennsauken, member, re-elected. And Shelley Etna from Asbury Park as an alternate, also re-elected. So at this time, I would like to have the oath of office for all the members. As they are recognized in the meeting at this time, I will ask all members to please take their oath of office. Do you solemnly promise to faithfully and impartially perform the duties incumbent upon you, your selection as a delegate alternate to the New Jersey School Boards Association Board of Directors to the best of your ability? And do you solemnly agree that you will at all times observe the bylaws, policies, and the code of ethics for NJSBA? And do you solemnly promise that you will do everything in your power at all times to uphold and advance the dignity, the honor, and the service of New Jersey School Boards Association and assist its members in encouraging and promoting all movements for the betterment of the public education in New Jersey? If you understand and accept all these charges, please say, I do.
I do.
I do.
Okay. Cindy's going to do. Cindy's on too, right? Cindy on? Yeah. So thank you very much and welcome aboard. I know you all do a great job for the association. We thank you. At this time, I would call on Cindy on to explain the code of conduct. Cindy? Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I just want to, for your reference, NJSBA has codes of conduct and a code of conflict that governs all board of directors members and the officers. We're asking you to acknowledge that you've received copies of those policies and that you will indicate that by signing the form that we're. If you have questions specifically about your own circumstance and how you should answer on the form, you can either call me on my cell, 908-892-4503, or you can send me a private message through the chat. If you look on the bottom right of your screen, you click on chat and you can go to that and you can send me a private message. In the past, I've had people inquire, you know, I have this involvement in this entity. Does that present a conflict, etc.? So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them by either method, either phone call or a direct question through the chat. Are there any general questions that anyone would like to raise at this time? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mike, may I just a bit of housekeeping. The code of conduct forms have not been sent yet.
Okay.
They will be sent out to you after this meeting.
I think, Henry, we discussed having them either print it, sign it, scan it, and send it back to us, or they could just drop it in the mail to you, addressed to you. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And this applies to all members because we're at the reorganization meeting, not
correct.
Just yeah.
Right, not just new ones.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Cindy. So if all members remember, you'll get the form, sign it, send it back to us so we have it. At this time, I'm going to move on to some action items. We want to approval of the extension of payment of dues for board members, for member boards. So may I have a motion to approve the extension of payment of dues for board of director members?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Who second?
Please state your name when you say second so we can write it down. Thank you.
Okay, Irene, Morris County, second.
Thank you, Irene. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Yes, I have something to say, please.
Shane Berger, please speak.
I called my BA and she said that the bill was paid.
Okay,
You got it. Thank you, Shane.
thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You know how long it takes them school districts to get those checks out. Come on, man. We all know that. It's all good, though. Thank you, Shane.
All right.
Is there any other questions or discussions on the motion? Okay. So, Cindy, do you want to explain anything about that, or we're good?
Yeah, just briefly, it's in our bylaws that if you're a board of director member or officer and your district hadn't paid, we allow a grace period because you're right, Mike. It takes sometimes, depending on what's going on in a district, for them to get the checks out. So it's simply in recognition of that. It's something we do every year, so it's not a big deal. It's just something that we have to do. That's all.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Shane.
I have a question.
Yes. Who is
Tamisha
it?
Smith. It's Tamisha.
Okay.
I saw that board member Hodges from Patterson was on the list as well, and I know that he has an upcoming election. If he's not successful in his reelection, does that impact the outstanding dues, or what happens in that case?
The board
No.
still has to pay their dues.
Yeah, the district has to pay their dues irrespective of whether someone else is elected.
I'm sorry.
It's a requirement under state law that every district pay their dues.
Oh, boy. Any other discussion or questions, comments? All right. So I have a roll call there, please,
Yes.
Anne Marie.
Atlantic, Amy Hasta.
Yes.
Harry Litwack, Burlington, Harry Litwack. Camden, Dale David.
Yes.
Cumberland, Michelle Kennedy. Michelle?
Yeah. Yes.
Essex, Shane Berger.
Yes.
Gloucester, Pete Calvo.
Yes.
Hudson, Maria Matisse.
Abstain.
Dana Krug, Mercer, Dana Krug.
Yes.
Middlesex, Devin Patel.
Yes.
Monmouth, Mark Bongiovanni.
Yes.
Morris, Irene LaFay.
Yes.
Ocean, Melanie Biscardi.
Yes.
Passaic, Nancy Schwartz. Nancy?
Yeah.
Got it. Salem, Dominic Maletta. Dominic?
Give that mic back to the kid.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Somerset, Robert Morrison.
Yes.
Sussex, Marie Billick.
Yes.
Union, Brendan Galligan. Brendan?
Yes.
Warren, Scott Nodes. Scott?
Yes.
Okay. Urban Boards, Diane Johnson.
Yes.
Vocational, Elizabeth Martin. Elizabeth? She is. Okay. President Michael McClure,
Yes.
Vice President Bruce Young. Bruce? Vice President Tamisha Smith.
Yes.
Vice President Dr. Karen Cordolino.
Yes.
Immediate past President Daniel Sinclair.
Yes.
And Vice President Bruce says yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Vice President
Okay.
Bruce.
Passes.
Thank you. Next, we have a consent agenda item. May I have a motion to approve the open session minutes of our May 8th, 2020, and the closed session minutes of the May 8th, 2020 meeting, and the legislative committee appointments?
Pete Calvo Gloucester, move to accept.
May I have a second?
Second, Brendan Galligan.
Thank you. Any discussion? Any changes? If not, then we can all, if there's no abstentions, no changes, we'll take the minutes as posted. Thank you.
I'm just going to abstain with people who weren't there.
Okay. Next, we have the election of the Board of Directors representatives to the 2020-2021 NJSBA Nominating Committee. I'll call on Cindy on to explain the procedure. Cindy?
Okay, good evening again. So you will be taking the 4 regions have nominated a single person from their region to represent them. Anne Marie, I believe you sent that notice out, and people should have that in front of them. Pursuant to our bylaws, a nominating committee is composed of 4 members from the board of directors selected by the regions, 4 members each from the geographical areas of the County School Board Association, the Cal leadership, 4 persons that are appointed at large by the president, which will come back to you on November 13th for your advice and consent. And then the immediate president also serves as a voting member. The president serves as a non-voting member. You will take your position on the committee effective in January of 2021, and you will serve through the conclusion of December 2022. We have in the past had to bring committees together infrequently after the annual election when there's been some unexpected vacancy in a position. So you're basically serving a 2-year term. However, the bulk of your work will be in January. We will do a training, and in February you'll actually meet, I assume virtually. We have no idea what will be happening at that point, where you will interview whoever has put in for the positions, and you will caucus among yourselves and come to a consensus about who to put forward as a slate to be put forward at the May Delegates Assembly in May of 2021. Anne Marie, do you have the 4 names, please?
I have them right here.
Okay, could you read them? I don't have it. I have it in front of me, but it's on my computer, and I have to move around to find it.
I'm going to read them out, okay?
Thank you.
For the Northeast, that's Hudson, Morris, Somerset, Sussex, and Warren County. It's Robert Morrison from Somerset County. For the Northeast, Bergen, Essex, Hudson, Passaic, and Union County, it's Brandon Galligan, Union County. For Central, which is Burlington, Mercer, Middlesex, Monmouth, and Ocean, it's Dana Krug, Mercer County. And for Southern Region, it's Atlantic, Camden, Cape May, Cumberland, Gloucester, and Salem, it's Naomi Davis from Camden. Davison, I'm sorry. I left the son off of that. Skip that part. That's the 4 nominees for the nominating committee.
So we would need a motion to move those 4 names forward, a second, and then a vote as to approve them. And then from here, Cal, which is meeting on October 10th, will put forward 4 names from counties other than the ones we've selected tonight. So we try to get more geographical representation.
Well, Irene LaFave, motion to approve.
Gail David.
Could I have a second?
Gail.
Second, Gail David.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Thank you for stepping forward.
Do we need a roll call vote, or can we just take a?
I think you can just do it by consent.
All right,
You know, just
good.
I'll say aye. Yeah.
All right, all in favor by saying aye.
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 Good.
Aye.
Is there any abstentions?
Well, the
Nominees would have to abstain.
Bob Morrison abstains.
On your, you'll say, so anybody who's been for, they abstain on their own nomination, but you can approve the others. So we'll make that note in the minutes.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody, and thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. I would like to take a note that I have appointed our immediate past president, Dan Sinclair, as the chair of the nominating committee. And as president, I will also participate as an ex officio, as Cindy said, on a member on the committee. And I'm looking forward to working with all the members to come up with the next officers for our association. So I want to thank them, and I want to thank Dan Sinclair for being our chair.
Choice.
Well, good choice. Thanks, Dan. At this time, we're going to move on. Right now, I would like to introduce our great and wonderful executive director, and he's going to give us his report. Dr. Larry Fonsod, please.
Thank you very much, President Mike, and good evening to all of you. Back in March, when we conducted our first all-virtual Board of Directors meeting, we anticipated that things would be back to normal, we thought, in a matter of a few months. Of course, that has not been the case. Remote meetings are the new normal for now. For our students and teachers, for boards of education, and for the New Jersey School Boards Association, virtual programming will be part of, but not all of, our operations long after the pandemic subsides. Having said that, I still strongly believe that nothing replaces in-person meetings. And I know that we all miss the human interaction. Just as your school districts have been consumed by the reopening of schools, we have had a good deal of dialogue about the reopening of NJSBA training and events on an in-person basis at some point in the near future. We hope the near future. But I will tell you that soon after the pandemic began, we also engaged in discussions regarding what we will look like as an organization and when we return to normalcy. Our goal, obviously, is to be able to hit the ground running when the public health emergency is indeed lifted. And by the way, we have already begun the outreach, if you will, to restaurants and facilities to make sure they're still in business and that they're interested in hosting County School Board Association meetings and other events in order to determine their availability in the future, again, when the health emergency is over. For now, we should all applaud our state's local boards of education and the entire public school community for the flexibility and dedication in planning the delivery of education during this unique time. And I commend the Herculean efforts of our staff who have ensured the relevancy and value of NJSBA membership. These efforts have far exceeded all expectations for programs and services during this health crisis, and they will continue to grow. This will be the main focus of my presentation tonight, which begins with a video overview of our efforts over the past 6 months. During my presentation, 3 members of our marketing and training team will provide additional comments on the activities of the past several months. In March, when Governor Murphy first declared the public health emergency, I presented a challenge to the NJSBA staff. When this pandemic is over, and one day that will happen, will our members feel that NJSBA was there for them during their time of need? My marching orders were to develop a plan to serve our members during this unprecedented situation. And as you will see, our staff responded in exemplary fashion with creativity, flexibility, intelligence, and dedication. Almost overnight, we transitioned our training, information, and direct services to a virtual basis. Not only are we maintaining services and continuing engagement with our active members, but we are also expanding our reach. And we're expanding our reach by increasing the core of active members and becoming a primary resource for more boards of education. We are also confronting the tough issues presented by the pandemic, whether they involve school reopening, district governance, funding, or labor relations. It has not been an easy road back for local boards. In fact, the situation has been described as trying to build an airplane while it is in flight. However, I am convinced that our wisdom and experience, combined with the ability to adapt to changing circumstances, will enable local boards to accomplish the critical job that is entrusted to them, educating New Jersey's 1.4 million public school students. COVID-19 has affected life in our state and nation. One thing it has not changed is NJSBA's commitment to providing critical support to local boards of education as they continue their mission to advance student growth and learning. Let me further review some of our association's efforts to serve local boards during the pandemic and to serve them through training, through research, and advocacy. On a weekly basis, since March, NJSBA has presented at least 5 original online training and informational programs. These sessions are broadcast live and then archived on our website. They include webinars, Facebook Live events, online professional development, podcasts, and videos. Recent and upcoming programs address cybersecurity, tackling the digital divide, negotiations during the pandemic, and the health emergency's impact on school board meetings. In addition, regularly scheduled Facebook Live events feature our staff experts from field services, legal, policy, labor relations, and governmental relations. These programs allow members to obtain information and to interact with staff experts. This is an essential NJSBA service delivered, of course, virtually. I will now ask Marcia Levine, Manager of Member Training and Professional Development, to talk about the NJSBA Online University and some of our recent and upcoming training activities.
Thank you, Larry. Hi, everybody. I apologize. My daughter did just walk in from dance, so there might be some noise behind me. I'm very sorry about that. We, at the Online University, what we're doing is we're actually going to mimic some of what you've seen since March. When I last saw you in May, we were just on the beginning of this. We were just starting to work through what we were doing and what it was going to look like and what it was going to feel like. Since then, we have run some very fascinating and interesting things with the virtual world. We did a wellness day, which was the first time that we interconnected Facebook Live with a conference and ran it for 4 or 5 hours. We've done the tech conference, which was the first time where we brought sponsors in, and we did sessions and it ran from 9 until 3. We've done a lot, like Larry said, we've done a lot with the Twitter and the Facebook. We've tapped into Rutgers and the Department of Continuing Studies initiative that we had and partnership that we have to come up with some theory-based learning and engagement for all of the sessions that we're doing. All of that is actually when we get to workshop, you're gonna see that everything we've been doing since March has been building up to what will happen at workshop. And then the online university will actually expand on what we do at workshop. We're going to be offering a lot of PD, not just for board members, but for fellow staff members to continue with their educational stuff. We're looking to make sure that we can help people achieve what they need to do for their continuing ed. We're going to dive deep into a lot of the information that you're getting at workshop into the COVID-related issues, transportation, wellness, SEL. One of the big ones that we're looking at expanding on is an SEL program that'll happen. These programs are going to be synchronous, which means that you're going to log in and do stuff with them, but they're also going to be asynchronous, which means that members can take them whenever. We're going to expand on it and hopefully bring in some guest lecturers and things like that. So the online university in the next year is going to blow up with what we're offering for people and expand upon what we've been doing and what we've learned in the last 6 months.
Thank you very much, Marcia. Thank you. Because our members need to stay connected during these uncertain times, we have maintained a high level of activity even during the summer months. Rather than taking their usual hiatus, the County School Boards Associations continued meeting in June, July, and August under the guidance of the County Association leadership. Because of the rapid pace of developments, School Board Notes, our major news and information vehicle, continued publishing on a weekly basis. Our field services team conducted 16 online programs on various aspects of school governance, implemented a virtual summer leadership program, and facilitated an increasing number of superintendent searches, all on a remote basis. Our Legal and Labor Relations Services Department, they responded to more than 850 school district requests for information on school law and for information on negotiations. They also continue to provide contract analysis, salary guide assistance, training and information programs, assistance to school board attorneys, and assistance to personnel administrators. The NJSBA School Policy Service, they responded to more than 600 inquiries since mid-March. And our call center, well, they averaged 300 calls per week since mid-March. Thanks to good planning on their behalf, and thanks to the support of the Board of Directors, in the last couple of years, as all of you know, we have made significant upgrades in our technology. And boy, oh boy, those upgrades have enabled us to engage an increasing number of members during this state of emergency. We have also made a mark in raising issues confronting local boards during the pandemic. In May, we launched the first of our series of special reports on education during the pandemic. It was titled Searching for a New Normal and addressed potential issues involved in the reopening of schools. On August 31st, we followed up with a second report, Choosing the Best Road Back for Our Children. Its centerpiece is an advocacy agenda for public education during the pandemic, which emphasizes the need for additional support from the state and federal government. In the near future, we will issue a third report. This project will address the digital divide. And in early 2021, we plan to release a report on the psychological impact of the pandemic on our students. How do we know we are reaching our members? Let me share the numbers, or the analytics, if you will, provided by our business development department. They address social media and other online activity since we began operating on a full virtual basis in mid-March. Through September 3rd, we had conducted 47 webinars on subjects ranging from online learning to internet access for all students. Over 3,400 board members and district staff from 452 individual districts viewed those webinars. That's 78% of our membership. Videos posted through Facebook, including our Facebook Live information events, were viewed a total of 67,315 times. We use our Facebook page to distribute information about programs, services, and issues in education. Content from our Facebook account has reached 286,699 people since mid-March. More than 5,000 people follow our Twitter account, which is another vehicle we use to communicate with our members, to communicate with state leaders and the general public. Since mid-March, our messages have appeared in 223,200 Twitter accounts. During this same period, our Education Matters video series has addressed pandemic-related issues, including health protocols, school reopening, and special education. So far, these videos have had 4,382 views on YouTube. A highlight, of course, was when Ray Pinney recently interviewed Governor Murphy. Ray has also hosted 30 podcasts on subjects ranging from the pandemic's effect on board meetings to negotiations during the pandemic and safety drills while social distancing. The programs have attracted almost 3,600 listeners. Michael Quedal from our digital marketing department will provide additional insight into these statistics. Michael?
Thank you, Dr. Feinsod. Good evening, everyone. As Dr. Feinsod stated in the video, not only are we maintaining services and continuing engagement with our active members, but we are also expanding our reach and reinforcing our value as a resource for boards of education. And that's exemplified by our social media channels and creating what we like to call building a digital community. The analytics speak for themselves. NJSBA's Facebook and Twitter page is a main source of information with multiple pieces of content posted each day. Now, since the beginning of the health crisis, our membership has been consuming content on social media, a lot of it. Narrowing down to a specific post, I just wanted to quickly highlight the announcement of the County Teacher of the Year virtual ceremony and why we were chosen for a project such as this. NJSBA is on the forefront of digital content since the beginning of the pandemic. These partnerships formed because of the unwavering support from the executive office to push out as much quality content through our social media channels as possible. And other associations and entities have taken notice. After months of hard work, the County Teachers of the Year ceremony was premiered to over 200 people live on our Facebook. But the numbers did not stop there. Because of our live content lives on our Facebook forever, members of the community were able to share the video, thus exponentially increasing the awareness of the ceremony further than even an in-person event would. Now, roughly 1 month after the awards ceremony ended, that premiere was viewed over 14,700 times, reached over 27,100 people, and piling up over 240 likes, comments, and shares. Njsba Booth, Educator Recognition Program Specialist at the DoD, actually wrote us an email stating, I love that since it is virtual this year, its reach is limitless so that many people, not only in New Jersey, but around the country will be viewing it either today or afterwards. And that is the opportunity that we have created. Like I said, NJSBA is on the forefront and now a leader of digital content in New Jersey education as we continue to build our digital community. Some additional analytics that emphasize how much we've grown since the last year. Between March and September, our posts have seen an increase of 15%. Our video views have seen an increase of 123%. And finally, our new likes, people that like our pages, have seen an increase of over 277% increase during the same time from the previous year. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Feinsod.
Thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate your work.
Thank you.
NJSBA's website, as you know, is the window to the association and our services. It is a central resource of information on governance, advocacy, and programming. Since mid-March, our website has had approximately 630,000 page views. This is an increase over the prior year of just about 30%, again, over the same period of time. The content for our social media, online communications, and website reflects the breadth of NJSBA's expertise and services. I will now ask NJSBA's Marketing and Website Manager, Lauren Cuervo, to provide additional information about the effectiveness of our website and how electronic communications advances the association's overall marketing strategy. Lauren?
Thank you, Dr. Feinsod. Since the start of the pandemic, the NJSBA website has become a repository for valuable resources and information. This includes information that's available through our COVID Resource Center, which I hope you've had a chance to visit. It's on the homepage of the website. Archive webinars, which have been adjusted to meet the needs of our members during the pandemic, special reports, the electronic versions of our newsletter, School Board Notes, and our magazine, School Leader, among many, many other resources. Our broader marketing strategy, especially in a time where interactions have moved to a virtual environment, include using all of our available communication channels and reaching our members where they are online. This includes an integrated approach through the NJSBA website, social media, email marketing, videos, podcasts, webinars, and Board Member Academy training. To coordinate all of our efforts, ensuring that we are covering a wide range of content that our members need or are seeking, NJSBA's Communication Channel Strategy Group, consisting of staff members from marketing, business development, communications, training, member engagement, and governmental relations, meet weekly to discuss topics for upcoming weeks and the ways in which we will bring content and resources directly to our membership. As Dr. Feinsod mentioned, the website engagement has been up over 30% since the start of the pandemic. Over 50% of our website traffic comes from web searches, mostly on Google. Another 30% of our traffic comes from people going directly to njsba.org, 11% comes from social media, and the remaining groups of people come from inbound links from other websites. Over the past 6 months, some of the most popular pages include the COVID Resource Center, School Board Candidacy, Chapter 78, online evaluations, which include both the CSA evaluation and the board self-evaluation, our newsletter, School Board Notes, upcoming programs, webinars, and mandated training. These views also have a connection with our Top Watch webinars, which include remote collaboration, funding through E-rate and the CARES program, Chapter 78, internet access, and personal protective equipment. Thank you for the opportunity to present tonight, Dr. Feinsod.
Thank you very much, Lauren. We appreciate it. Advocacy has also taken center stage as we've addressed the pandemic. And building and maintaining partnerships has been key to advocacy in all areas of our mission. In the spring, as the chair and facilitator of Leadership for Educational Excellence, or better known as the LEAD Group, which is a coalition of the state's major educational organizations, we had the opportunity to increase the frequency of meetings. I recommend it, and all of the other organizations were quick to agree that due to the pandemic, we should meet every week. And that has been going on since the spring. So each week we've been meeting throughout that time as well as the summer. And the lead group has conducted these virtual meetings as we navigated the entire school reopening process with our members. Nearly all of the meetings have included the Commissioner of Education and his senior staff. We have also met with George Helmy, the Governor's Chief of Staff. And we had a special meeting on health and safety concerns with the Commissioner of Health. One of our major goals was for the state to issue strong and universal health and safety standards to help guide districts as they plan to restart the education process. This month, Governor Murphy appeared on NJSBA's Education Matters video program to discuss the state's school reopening strategy. In addition, Deborah Kornavaca, the governor's deputy chief of staff, provided a straightforward, informative presentation to the County Association leadership on September 8th. Unlike previous summers, the legislature has been very active because of the need to address pandemic-related issues. And NJSBA has been there for our members. In testimony submitted to the Senate and Assembly Budget Committees, we called for additional financial support to help all school districts meet the challenges of operating during the pandemic. We were a leading advocate in the effort to restore funding for the school-based youth services, which would have been severely reduced in the governor's proposed 2020-2021 state budget. The Appropriations Act, which was amended to include funding for the school-based youth services program, received final legislative approval yesterday. We worked with the New Jersey Association of School Administrators, the State Principals and Supervisors Association, and the Garden State Coalition of Schools to oppose legislation concerning the appointment of high school athletic coaches. The proposal, which I'm happy to say has stalled in the legislature, would have infringed on every Board of Education's responsibility to make prompt and responsive personnel decisions. As some of you may be aware, this would have given automatic multi-year contracts to certain coaches. We have also seen progress on legislation that would provide financial flexibility for school boards and assistants in securing personal protective equipment and technology during the health crisis. Jonathan Pushman, our new Director of Governmental Relations, who's already doing a very impressive job, will provide additional information during the advocacy update. In August, I was very happy to participate in the virtual ceremony recognizing the state's 21 County Teachers of the Year. NJSBA is a long-term supporter of the Teacher of the Year program. And thanks to NJSBA's efforts, the DOE was able to recognize New Jersey's outstanding educators in spite of the pandemic. At the October 7th virtual State Board of Education meeting, I will be participating in the announcement of the 2020 New Jersey State Teacher of the Year. We have also met with our colleagues at the New Jersey State League of Municipalities, including their new executive director, Mike Serra. We discussed common goals and participation in our annual conference, and it pleases me to inform you that the participation under the new executive director will be a reality. In addition, Patty Millett and I engaged in discussion with the Marine Corps to explore possible partnerships similar to our successful arrangement with the U.S. Army. Our discussions produced our first Marine Corps sponsorship, which will be during the upcoming virtual workshop. It also pleases me to announce that the Marine Corps will be dedicating monies also to ELF and J. We all agree that the federal government has a critical role to play in helping public education during the pandemic. Our governmental relations team regularly interacts with our colleagues at the National School Boards Association on members of federal level advocacy and funding. NJSBA also remains active in the governance of the National Association. And as you read in school board notes, specifically at the September 17th meeting of the Northeast Region State School Boards Associations, our own Bruce Young, Vice President for County Activities, was elected to serve on the NSBA, National School Boards Association, Policy and Resolutions Committee. Looking forward, next month at the virtual workshop, Senate President Steve Sweeney, Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin, Assembly Republican Leader John Brownnick, and Senator Steve Araujo will be among lawmakers participating in the state legislative update session. Clearly, this is going to be one of our best legislative aspects of workshop. As you know, Workshop 2020 will be a statewide virtual training conference addressing school board needs during the health emergency. And we look so very forward to you and your board's participation. And by the way, Workshop represents one of 5 of NJSBA's goals for 2020 and 2021. In fact, all 5 goals are designed to help local boards govern public education during the pandemic. In addition to the virtual workshop, the goals include advancing virtual training through the NJSBA Online University, of which we heard a little bit about, expanding school districts' ability to secure essential products and services, advancing the Sustainable Jersey Digital Schools program, and that would be done through training, research, and the development of voluntary certification criteria, and research on the pandemic's impact on education. All of the goals reflect NJSBA's current strategic plan and mission. And that mission, to provide the achievement of all students through effective governance, will be critical long after we overcome the challenge of this pandemic. Again, to promote the achievement of all of the kids that we serve. And that will be so very, very important when this pandemic is over, as it is right now during this health crisis. I thank each and every one of you for your hard work and your commitment and the help you have provided to the children of this state. Thank you. Now, under the Executive Director's report, we're going to hear from Jonathan Pushman. I mentioned Jonathan's name earlier, our new Director of Governmental Relations. Jonathan, if you will.
Never been that quiet at the State
Never,
House
never
for as long as
before.
I can remember.
Jonathan, are you there? Okay. Obviously, Jonathan is either having a technical problem or he'll jump on and join us. I get a thumbs up now. Jonathan, are you there? The thumbs up just went down.
Larry, my screen shows that he's muted still. Oh, now he's unmuted.
Okay, Jonathan, going 3 times. Are you there? Okay, we'll come back to Jonathan. Let us jump right now to Patty Millette. I can't tell you how hard Patty and her team have been working on the virtual workshop. When I say to you day and night, there's no hyperbole, no exaggeration, folks. It's been an incredible project, and it is so exciting. Patty, are you there?
I am here. How are you? It's so nice to see everybody. Earlier in the evening, when we were all just kind of talking at the beginning, I said that this is always our meeting, right? This is for me the best meeting of the year. We get to talk about workshop, and not being able to be in a room feels very sad for me not to. But just like our conference, just like workshop, the things that we can't replicate, like hugs and the connection, the bottom line is we can replicate the good things. And the bottom line is having all of you here to listen to this and know that we are so excited to report to you what we have to talk about tonight are the best parts of it. And I think what you're going to hear tonight is that a couple things that we're very excited to share with you, and overall just how the difference between when we talked in May to now is just so exciting. And so let me get right to it. I also am thrilled to have a lot of the people, several of the people who are so critical to the event, which I normally don't have when we talk. Lauren Cuervo, Michael Quidal, and Marshall Levine, who will be part of the conversation later. And so it's very, very nice to do that. So let's just start.
Can you hear me now, Patty?
Yes.
We can, John.
Okay.
And I'll call upon you when Patty is finished, okay?
I apologize, Larry. I'm here and ready to go now.
It's good to hear your voice, my friend. Go ahead, Patty.
Okay, thank you. The event, as you know, will be October 20th, 21st, and 22nd. The good news is there will be no long lines there at registration. There will be no shuttle waits. And we are able now, and Amy and I were laughing about this earlier, the biggest complaint that we have always heard is that there are just too many programs for all of you to get to during those 3 days, during those 4 days. And so the exciting thing about this event is that it's both live and on demand. So let's just start there. What we mean by a live event is that for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, that the training sessions that Marshall will talk about later on will be live, meaning that they will be live Zoom sessions. Our keynotes on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday will also be live events. The exhibit floor will be live as well, meaning that although the event will be virtual, the expectation is that our vendors and our exhibitors will be at their booths, able to answer your questions no differently than they would be able to do in an in-person event. So what I'd like to do right now is just talk a little bit and show you our virtual workshop. So Kristen, if you wouldn't mind, Brian, if you could give Kristen presenter skills. And I'd like to introduce, and I'm so sorry, I totally forgot. We have another wonderful member of our team here as well. Kristen is on our call here as well. Kristen has been our backbone virtual workshop coordinator. And as you can see, I could do this presentation, but I need technology skills. And thank God Kristen's here to do it. So Kristen, thank you for being here, and she's going to assist me as well. So what I want you to realize now is that we are a work in progress. No differently than if you walked into the exhibit hall on Sunday before workshop, you would not see the finished product. This is not the finished product, but you're going to get a really good idea. So what's going to happen is you're going to get your link, and we have a little surprise for you that isn't here yet. That's actually the first thing you're going to see, but we're not going to give you away everything tonight. But when you come into this will be the exhibit, you will come into the exhibit hall. Looks a lot like Atlantic City. When you come in, there'll be a greeting from Dr. Feinsod and President Mike, basically telling you how to work through what you need to do in the conference and welcome everybody to the event. When you get to the event, when you come into the conference, you can see in the back that those are our 16 premier sponsors. You'll be able to click those sponsors and go directly to their booths, or the fact is, as you can see, that they are the main sponsors of the event. The 3 signs that are hanging down from the ceiling are not completed yet, but this is what those signs will be. Since ASA and ASBO are our partners in this, you'll also be able to see those when you come in. Thanks, Kristen. Okay, when you, so now you have an option. You can decide to go to the exhibit hall, go to the auditorium, or go to the attendee lounge. And what we're going to start out with today, oh yeah, let me finish this piece too. On top here, you see the toolbar there on top. This will also be able to talk to you about all the different pieces. So Kristen, why don't you just share with them what will be up there available for the attendees to click?
Sorry, Patty, which part?
No, that's the drop down. So the lobby, the exhibit hall, what's going to be across the top?
Across the top. Oh, this is here. Oh, sorry. Across the top, the first link will be just like the opening of our paper program book. So it's going to take us to meet the leadership and get the bios of all of our NJSBA, our officers, and our co-sponsors. Then it will take you to a drop down of our agenda. So there will be multiple spots on the platform that attendees can always go back and forth and see the sessions and when they're scheduled and add to their agenda. Going from there, they can enter the exhibit hall, which is, we're going to have 7 floors. They're all going to be categorized by their specialties. That'll also come down as a bigger, larger drop-down image that they can click on. A couple of these won't be here. The virtual briefcase, this is how every time an attendee visits a booth, any of the PDFs that are uploaded by any of the exhibitors, they can click on and add it just as if they're adding it to their tote bag when they're walking by booths on the exhibit floor. At the end of the event, they can then select which ones they want to keep and email it to themselves.
Great. All right, that's good. And then we'll also have a help desk button, which will allow attendees, if they come in here, if they have any problems, they'll be able to have technical support as well as NJSBA support, who will be there to answer any questions that they might have about the agenda or anything else like that. So right now, what I'm going to do is let Marcia take you. So go back into the lobby, Kristen. And so the attendees will then be able to decide that you want to go to the sessions, and all the sessions will go through the auditorium. And we're very excited to try to replicate some of the things that we have come to love. And one of the things that we know is that our keynotes are always performed on the Investors Bank stage. And I'm very happy to report that we have an Investors Bank virtual stage. So if you go into the auditorium, please. Marcia.
Okay, so as you come into the Investors Bank Training Center, you'll see that big white screen that is up there won't be a big white screen. We have a graphic that's going there. Like Patty said, we're in the process of still building some pieces of this. And we need surprises for you in October.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you will click on that. When you click on that, the agenda will open up for you. As you can see right now, these are some of the, don't tell anybody, these are some of the sessions that we have coming. We've been putting stuff in actively, but you'll see at the top, Kristen, can we just scroll down a little bit? There's tracks. Right now, they're just numbered. We're going to be expanding on that a little bit and letting people know where they can find different things. We have a track that is dedicated to social emotional learning and wellness and equity. We have a track that's dedicated to financial cost saving opportunities. We have a track, this is really important, dedicated to our facilities individuals who in the COVID reality have a whole bunch of new things that are happening that they need to know. Plus they still need to get their continuing education credits. We're going to have a track on leadership and COVID-19. A lot of governance pieces are going to fall in there. So as you can see, we're breaking it up for you. The things that we're going to have that you love and always go to, we're going to have our legislative update. We're going to have that happening virtually in the sessions. We have a joint program with the League of Municipalities, as I talked about in the Facebook Live session. We're going to have the DOE, of course, is coming, and they have almost an entire day of track that's just dedicated to them and their sessions, which relate back to what you need to do for governance, for making sure that you're hitting what they need to hit. But also, it's providing your directors of curriculum with some insights into universal design for learning, as well as some other theories and pedagogies for distance learning and things like that. If you didn't hear it on Facebook Live, we have over 100 sessions. We have 100 sessions, and 50 of them are dedicated to COVID-related or linked back to a COVID-related situation. The military is there, the Army, the Navy, the Marines are all also presenting. And then I think everything is 60 minutes, but we've built into that 60 minutes a Q&A. So we are intentionally asking that the people who are presenting are taking time to ask questions through the Zoom room. Now, when you enter the Zoom room, it's going to be very similar to what you enter here. You're going to come in, the presenters will be there. You're going to be able to ask questions. There's a couple of different ways that it'll work within Zoom, so I don't want to give too many specifics, but basically there's a way for you to ask a question, and the presenter can either accept that or decline it, depending on where they are in the process of presenting. There's also going to be the chat feature, but there'll be, Kristen, can we go back to that 1 second? Because I think you had a spot where we have a test, if you go down a little bit, one of them had materials that we had uploaded. See right there, it says test. You're going to be able to come in and see, this obviously isn't real materials for a session, but your presenters are going to be able to upload their materials right there and pull them. The beautiful thing is that you can pull them and download them and put them on your desk, or for the next year, you can just keep coming back and keep pulling your materials. And then you'll be able to share them within your board members. I think that covers most of what's in the training area. Patty, do you want me to go on about anything else, or is that?
No, I'll call you in if I need you.
Okay.
We just got a question in the chat about will we be having training for attendees? You betcha.
Yes.
We
absolutely.
promise you. That was our, I think, 3 hours WebEx afternoon today, one of our 3-hour WebEx calls of the day today. And so our wonderful Facebook Live, who's now becoming, I think, as popular as Kimball and everybody else, he will be doing videos that we will be sending out to the attendees to know how to do all the things that we are talking about. One of the things, go back into the auditorium. So we are very excited about our keynotes. So one of the great things about this workshop, the virtual workshop, is the fact that we are getting to do things that we really always wanted to do, but because of people being used to the same thing always and doing the same thing all the time, we always didn't want to rock the boat too much. And one of the things we've always thought about was what it would be like to have one session at 9 o'clock to be the kickoff event. Obviously, we would need an auditorium very, very big for that. So in a virtual world, we can do that because we don't have to worry about the fire marshal kicking people out of buildings and rooms like we have to do in Atlantic City. So every morning at 9 o'clock, we will have the kickoff event. It will start off with the student performance. I will start off with Dr. Feinsod giving greetings and also President Mike. There'll be a student performance. And then on Tuesday, we have Ana Maria Chavez, who is the executive director of the National School Boards Association, who has a phenomenal story. She is a motivational speaker. She's an author, has an incredibly unique story of her life story. So even though she is the NSBA executive director, that's not what she's going to be talking about. She's going to be talking about her role getting there. On Wednesday, we have the commissioner, the acting commissioner, or the interim commissioner, excuse me, and that should be very, very interesting. And we're obviously always looking forward to hearing what the commissioner has to say. And then on Thursday, we are very, very excited. We really thought that it was very, very important that there be a student voice here. Even though there is going to be so much information about the pandemic, the impact on schools, and all of those reopening pieces, we really wanted to hear a student's perspective. So we have Sabrina Capoli, who goes to Seneca High School. She's from Tabernacle, and she is the New Jersey State Board of Education rep. If any of you have seen her or heard her, she is just one of those kids. And she, I think she's going to do a wonderful job. We told her, a basic estimation of the amount of people that we normally get, and the child didn't even blink. She didn't even blink about it. So she's very excited to share that story with you as well. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go visit the exhibit hall. So you come into the lobby and you would click into, so this is what a virtual exhibit hall looks like. So you will come in, and as Kristen said earlier, there's going to be about 135 exhibitors. They will be divided between 7 halls. Those halls are going to be broken down in some kind of content. That's one of those things that we've always wanted to do. Our attendees, you all have always said we'd love to have all the tech companies in one place, the architects in one place. Well, the architects and the tech companies don't necessarily want to be near each other. Well, now we have a lot more control. So we will be having, so what happens is you will be able to click on, there'll be the company names, the exhibitors listed here if you're looking for anybody, any of the companies that you work with, or there'll be logos that you can hit, as you can see. And then what will happen is each of these booths will have representatives working there. You'll be able to either chat the way you could chat on a Zoom or a WebEx call, or there will be video chat. Kristen, can we go to the NJSBA booth, please? Wow, we really have a lot of the booths, and this is so exciting. Every time I do this, I see more booths that are done. So this is our, can you just take the, yeah. So this is our NJSBA booth. So let's just imagine that you are in this conference right now, and just like you want to do in Atlantic City, you want to go talk to your field service reps. You want to go talk to labor. You want to go talk to policy. You want to talk to legal. And this is exactly what you can do, the exact same thing. In each of these booths, as Kristen said, there will be PDFs of documents of, say, field service, stuff, information on strategic plan, on goal setting, on all the wonderful services that they do, as well as everyone else in the association does. You'll be able to download those into, oh yes, let's say it, the Spiesel briefcase, okay? Could not get you a Spiesel bag this year, but was able to get you we were able to get you a Spiesel briefcase. So every attendee will have a Spiesel briefcase that they will be virtually carrying with them through their journey at workshop. And, I just saw a chat that someone said they were going to ask about the bag. And so yes, we do have the virtual briefcase. And then in each of these booths, not only will there be PDFs, but also unlimited recorded information. So that means that you and your board members can go around these booths. You can download webinars, informational videos, topics that on topics that you are all discussing back at your board. So this is basically what the virtual booths will look like. And what I really strongly encourage is that you actually visit as many and all as you can, because they are putting a tremendous amount of resources into these booths that I think will be very, very, very helpful to school districts in terms of the products and services that you're all looking for. So this is basically what you will see. So let's just flip over now to stay here on the picture, but just to talk about the difference between the live event and the on-demand event. So the event will be live for 3 days, and then on the 23rd, it flips right over into a on-demand event. And what that means is that if you are registered for this event, that you and the other people in your districts that are registered can come back in and watch the 100 training programs that have all now been recorded and are available for on demand anytime, anywhere you want. And these exhibit booths will also be available on demand, which means that, let's just say, and I've used this example, being a former board member, we're thinking about hiring an architect, we're looking for an insurance broker, we're looking for any of those professional services that you're talking about. Normally, we would talk about it, we'd send that out to the BA, the superintendent, they would do the research, bring it back to the board. What's really exciting now is if your board is registered for workshop, all one of you have to do is open up the exhibit floor, and now the board itself can go around and look and view some of these professional services as a group, and I think that's really exciting. So what's really nice too is that the companies can update their booths throughout the year, which means that they can continue. So let's take attorneys. As these issues come into school districts that everybody's dealing with, they now can go in and update their booths with more current information. Okay, let's go to the county. So, of course, we can't have cookies, and that's one of those things we are incredibly sad about, but we've tried to replicate the best that we can. So this is going to be where we're going. So this is our Cdi Lounge, and what we will be doing is Ray and Naj and Patty will be hosting county events, one in the morning, one in the afternoon on all 3 days, which will be topic focused. Ray and the girl, Patty and Naja have submitted some great topics, current topics, and then all of you will be able to come in and be able to learn about those things. One of the things that we have learned through our virtual world that we're living in, especially at the county meeting point, is that people from all different counties are going to county meetings. So sharing, they want to hear, they want to learn about best practices during this time. So we think this will be another really, really nice idea that we'll be able to have. The nighttime events, one of the things that, again, we're trying to replicate. We are trying to replicate the things that make our event so special. And so one of the things that we all know that make our event so special are kids. And so we can't have a live steam tank event. We can't have live events of students' performance. So what we tried to do is the next best thing. We can't have cocktail parties. We can't have some of the things that we're all used to doing at the nighttime. So again, we've tried to replicate that. So every single night, there will be from 7 to 8:30 students. So on Tuesday night, we will have the film festival on Tuesday night, our partner, and I have to give a shout out to Bob Morrison and the Arts Ed group, what they have done with us and the partnership that they are providing us with the content for a night of showcasing the best of students, and that is going to be so exciting. We also, the next night, we will also have the film festival, which will be the partnership that we have with the Garden State Film Festival. This year we had a category in their film festival. All 12 films will be showed, and that should be really, really fun. So grab your glass of wine, sit on your couch, and be able to see the best and the brightest in the arts. And then on Thursday, we are so excited. Michael Quidal will be hosting and coordinating a live e-gaming sports competition between students that will be going on during the event. So as you can see, we have really, really tried our best to capture the best of workshop. And at the end of the day, training, our networking opportunities, even if they're virtual, there is nothing more that I think we all need right now is to be together in whatever way we can. And I hope that you can feel tonight the true and total commitment of this staff to make this an event that you will enjoy, because quite honestly, it's what we enjoy too. I mean, put a year into something, there's nothing better than that 9 o'clock ribbon cutting and seeing each other. But I promise you that even though there'll be no ribbon, when you walk in virtually to this exhibit hall at 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning, the 20th, the same excitement and the enthusiasm will be there. And most importantly, the commitment of the NJSBA staff to make this a great event for everybody. So Dr. Feinsod, that's it for me.
Well,
Thank you, Kristen.
thank you very much, Patrice. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Marcia. As I said earlier, these folks, along with others, have been working day and many times day and night. And this is going to be so unique and so positive and so wonderful. Very, very exciting.
Thank you for all the love on the chat line there too, people. Thank you. We all appreciate those chats.
Okay, is Jonathan in the house?
I sure hope so.
He was so nervous.
I think he is.
I think you guys are just pranking me for my first board of directors meeting.
It was all about that, absolutely.
You went back to your red headphones, didn't you, John?
Yeah, I guess I should just stick with my trademark from now on. That's fine. We did say something about a digital divide, so I guess I'm case in point. But thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Before I give my update, I just first wanted to express my sincere thanks and appreciation to Dr. Feinsod, all the NJSBA officers and staff, and so many board members from across the state who have expressed their support and congratulations to me upon being appointed to the director position. I'm truly honored and humbled by this opportunity to lead the association's advocacy efforts. Moreover, I'm incredibly blessed to have such a strong support structure surrounding me. I know the road ahead will certainly have its share of challenges. I attempt to fill the big shoes vacated by Michael Branchick. However, knowing that there are so many helpful and intelligent people backing me up, including many of you on this call, I'm confident that together we will achieve great success and further strengthen NJSBA's reputation as a well-respected and effective advocacy organization. So with that, allow me to spend some time updating you on what the governmental relations team has been up to since the last BOD meeting. As Dr. Feinsod mentioned, the legislature has been keeping us all very busy over the last few months. Similar to what is occurring in the education field, they've been operating on a hybrid basis as well. The Senate has returned to holding in-person committee meetings at the State House, while the Assembly has continued to use the Zoom platform with which we've all become so familiar since COVID set in. The GR staff has weighed in on any bills that would impact our membership by providing written or verbal testimony, working with legislators and staff behind the scenes. And I even had my first opportunity since we went into quarantine mode to testify in person at a Senate Budget Committee a few weeks ago. And suffice to say, it was a pretty surreal experience. It will probably come as no surprise that much of the focus at the virtual State House has been on the state's budgetary and financial situation. Our team has been focused and engaged on how the state's economic circumstances will affect our member district. So I think it's important that we all have a common understanding on where things stand and how we got here. We're winding back a bit to a more normal time. As you recall, in late February, Governor Murphy delivered his FY 2021 budget address. The budget he delivered back then proposed adding over $330 million into the school funding formula, which would continue the gradual path towards full funding. When the pandemic hit a couple weeks later, that budget was essentially thrown out the window, creating a level of uncertainty regarding what districts could expect from the state in the next budget cycle. With the expectation that COVID-19 would have a significant negative impact on the state budget, both the governor and legislature took decisive action to set a path forward for dealing with the difficult times that lie ahead. In late March, the governor froze nearly $1 billion in planned spending, and the legislature passed what's been referred to as the COVID-19 Fiscal Mitigation Act. That legislation did the following. One, it followed the federal lead and delayed the tax filing deadline from April 15th to July 15th. It extended fiscal year 2020 by 3 months, so rather than ending on its traditional deadline date of June 30th, it now runs through the end of September. This move was intended to give the state more time to assess the impact of the pandemic on New Jersey's economy. Third, it directed the state treasurer to issue a report by May 22nd, detailing the impact of the pandemic on the state's finances, along with a spending plan for the extended fiscal year 2020. And then finally, it required the governor to deliver no later than August 25th, the revised budget proposal for the truncated 9-month FY 2021, now set to begin on October 1st. So when the treasurer delivered her report on the financial condition of the state, that was when we kind of got our first official indication of how the state's financial situation would affect school districts. In that report, the treasurer indicated that the state was potentially facing a combined $10 billion revenue shortfall for the remainder of FY 20 and all of FY 2021. The report included over $4 billion in budget solutions, including, most importantly for us, a recommendation to eliminate the $336 million increase in formula aid that the governor had included in his February address. About a month later, the legislature passed the mini budget that would cover that state spending for the 3-month extension of FY 2020. And the legislature also, along the same lines, passed legislation giving the governor the authority to borrow nearly $10 billion to address the unprecedented fiscal crisis that has arisen as a consequence of COVID-19. In July, NJDOE issued revised state aid notices that you all received to reflect the elimination of that proposed increase in school aid. The situation for districts that were slated to see a reduction in state aid was unchanged. However, those districts that expected to realize increases in state aid for FY 2021 saw the magnitude of those increases reduced due to the fact that no new money was being put into the formula. Now, fast forward to late August, the governor delivered his revised FY 2021 budget proposal on the Rutgers University football field. Keeping in line with the financial belt tightening that had occurred in the preceding months, the governor proposed keeping overall school aid flat compared to FY 20. This essentially hit the pause button on the path toward fully funding SFRA, pursuant to the law commonly referred to as Senate Bill 2. However, the governor indicated that the redistribution of aid pursuant to S2 would continue into FY 21. Other significant education-related components of the governor's spending plan included flat funding for extraordinary special education aid, elimination of the school-based youth services program previously mentioned by Dr. Feinsod, $100 million in coronavirus relief funds to assist with school reopening efforts, $60 million in federal funds to bridge the aforementioned digital divide, and $20 million in federal funds for equitable services, social emotional learning, and addressing learning loss. After that, the legislature then began reviewing the governor's proposal, and advocacy groups, including the School Boards Association, were given opportunity to weigh in, and we did. While the budget committees did not accept in-person testimony due to the pandemic, it did allow for the submission of written testimony. Through statements from Dr. Feinsod and written testimony submitted to the legislature, the NJSBA expressed support for the governor's plan to direct millions of dollars in federal funds to school districts. While welcoming this additional support that will no doubt help, we also urge the state and federal government to partner together, to provide additional resources that we know all of our members so desperately need to deal with this unprecedented emergency. We also called for a higher level of state aid for the upcoming fiscal year, citing the additional expenses that districts are incurring due to the pandemic, the continued underfunding of many districts under SFRA, and the inadequate funding of extraordinary special education expenses. The NJSBA also expressed strong concern over the proposed elimination of the school-based youth services program. We actively engaged with key stakeholders and mobilized our members to join in our advocacy efforts by contacting their elected officials and adopting sample resolutions that we drafted urging continuation of the program. After spending most of September deliberating over the governor's spending proposal, the legislature adopted an Appropriations Act just yesterday and sent it to the governor. He indicated earlier today at his press briefing that he intends to sign the bill as is. So while the legislature didn't include any additional formula aid in the budget, it did insert several other spending items that I believe are noteworthy and beneficial to school districts. Among those are a $25 million increase in extraordinary special education aid, bringing it to a grand total of $275 million. So I think through our advocacy efforts and those of other educational organizations, it appears that the legislature is continuing on a path to fully funding that critically important line item. We did see that restoration of $15 million to maintain the school-based youth services program. We also saw the inclusion of $10 million in shared services and school district consolidation study and implementation grants for those districts who are interested in studying the possibility of regionalizing with neighboring districts. And then we also saw a new item up to $5 million for what's been referred to as an education rescue grant program, which will allocate up to $5 million for school districts to retain staff members in the wake of the freeze in state aid that I mentioned earlier. So moving on from those budget issues, there are several other COVID and non-COVID related advocacy items in which we are engaged. These have been brought to your attention in the report submitted by Dr. Cordolino, our Vice President for Legislation and Resolutions. So I don't want to go into too much detail on that right now, but I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Among the COVID-related items in the report that Dr. Feinsod alluded to earlier is the pandemic advocacy agenda. It was included in the latest report. that this association released on education during the pandemic. This has been shared with the legislature and seeks various forms of financial relief and flexibility for districts as they implement their school reopening plans. Several bills that would implement these proposals are pending in the legislature, including the ability to transfer funds between financial accounts to meet COVID-related expenses, create a statewide procurement process for obtaining PPE and technology, and granting districts flexibility around the QSAC process, as well as another measure that would grant districts liability protections for boards as they bring more staff into school facilities. And we have been supporting and trying to push those bills to the finish line. Our one non-COVID related issue, we're actively monitoring implementation of the Chapter 78 relief legislation that was signed into law late June. This law, which significantly alters the landscape of school employee health benefits, is commonly referred to as Chapter 44. Chapter 44 is intended to collectively save school districts, employees, and taxpayers, hundreds of millions of dollars to reduce healthcare costs. However, we want to make sure that no individual district suffers any negative financial consequences after the bill goes into effect this coming January 1. While supportive of the bill's intent, we were the sole organization in the state to formally express any concerns over potentially adverse impact on some districts, and we'll be keeping a close watch on it moving forward. As some of you may have read it in the paper, this law was passed following the announcement of a compromise between Senate President Sweeney and the NJEA in early March. Packaged into that deal was a commitment by the Senate President to advance two other advocacy objectives of the union. One that would place several obstacles in the way of a district seeking to subcontract out for non-instructional services, while another would grant tenure-like protections to support staff. Both of those bills had long been opposed by the NJSBA, which had been successful in preventing them from becoming law for 30 and 20 years respectively. Then we led a coalition of business, local government, and other education associations in opposing the anti-subcontracting measure. Unfortunately, once they were packaged together with the Chapter 78 relief legislation, combined with the governor's campaign promise to support all three initiatives, our ability to stop them this time around became nearly impossible. But I want to thank all the board members that are on this call and previous administrations that joined us in our advocacy efforts, pushing back on these bills that we thought were bad public policy. And then finally, I want to re-highlight the great panel we have lined up with our four prominent legislators for workshop. That session will be held at noon on the Wednesday of workshop and should once again be one of the highlights of the conference. I hope to see you all then. This concludes my update.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. And again, good luck in your new assignment. We're glad that you're filling those big shoes from Mike. And we know that you will be doing an excellent job. You've already hit the road running, and we thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Feinsod.
There are chat questions.
Okay, let me ask President Mike, do you want to take a few minutes for questions?
We'll take about 5 minutes or so for some questions.
Can you see them, Jonathan?
Can you see the questions, Jonathan?
I can see them. I see one from Shannon regarding when will we get the NJDOE mandated LGBTQ and persons with disability history curriculum guidance, and when will NJSBA issue a statement? I'm going to be honest, Shannon, that's not an issue that has been on my front burner, but it is something that I can certainly look into and follow up with you. I imagine that a lot of things were sidelined when the state went into pandemic mode. But that's something that I'll try to seek further clarification on with my colleagues and with NJD staff. So I will do with that. For $6 million, this is from Amy, $6 million in the beginning of the year for mental health training. Amy, I'm not familiar with the program that you're referring to. Are you able to be more specific?
Hi, yes, Amy Hess, Atlantic County. In the beginning of the year, there was a conversation with the governor regarding $6 million going into mental health first aid for all of the districts, and it was approved for $6 million. The DOE is also having a work group in which they're discussing additional areas of mental health, and I was wondering if this continues to be the plan or if it's even part of the discussion anymore.
When was it proposed, Amy?
I would
before.
have to go back and look, but I believe it was in either January or February, just
Yeah.
before the pandemic.
Yeah, I would probably give a similar answer to that one to the one regarding the LGBTQ guidance and history curriculum. That a lot of initiatives, and there were seven, as I mentioned in my report, there were about $1 billion in planned spending that was frozen in late March by the treasurer as a way to help tighten the state's finances. So it's very possible that that was something that was put on the chopping block, or at least frozen temporarily amongst that $1 billion. And I can look into that as well and follow up.
If I find the information and send it to you, would you be able to give us more information?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, do we have any further questions?
Any further questions, Jonathan, or we're good?
Jonathan, this is Ray.
Yes.
I just want to let Shannon know that her question was sent to the governor, because she sent that question for the governor's town hall. Larry forwarded her question on to the governor, so we probably will have an answer shortly on her question about the LGBTQ curriculum.
Thank you for that, Ray. Yeah, I apologize that I didn't have a hard and fast answer. It's just not an issue that really has fallen under the purview of government relations over the last couple of months. But we, like I said, we can certainly follow up, and hopefully we can get an answer. And any of those governor town halls, when somebody submits a question, he has all of his cabinet level and senior level staff on those calls to make sure that you do get a follow-up answer.
Yeah, my suggestion, Jonathan, is that you do indeed what you said, follow up. The questions that I sent in were from board members that Ray and I had talked about. And before I receive an answer, it'll probably be vetted by 25 people in the governor's office. And so I may get my answer in June. So you might want to help Amy out and do your subtle and confidential contacts. You probably could get the answer much sooner.
That sounds like a challenge. I'll do my best.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on. Next thing we'll move on to is the officers' reports. And I'm going to, being as we're in the government relations and all that, I'm going to let our Dr. Karen Carlino start first. Karen?
You caught me off guard there. I was muted.
Ah, that's okay. You're back.
I really don't have anything more to add to the report that was submitted. I do want to thank GR for really constructing that report. I want to congratulate Jonathan Pushman officially at this board of directors meeting for his appointment as director of GR. It's got big shoes to fill, but I have every confidence that Jonathan's going to do great things. And I also just wanted to give a huge thank you to the New Jersey School Board staff for all the work we've done during the pandemic. You know, during Larry's report, he posed the question, will people believe that NJSBA was there for them? Will board members believe that they were there, the organization was there for them? And unequivocally, it's a resounding yes. There seems to have been so much more contact and content and information than ever before. So I thank you for that. And the workshop, Patty and your staff, the workshop looks amazing. The graphics are so cool, and the way you've set it up, it does, and Michael as well. Just, it seems like it is a live event. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you very much, Karen. Appreciate everything you do too for us as the VP for legislation. Now I'll hear from our county VP, Mr. Bruce Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. One thing I do want to ask Patty is, how do I reserve a beanbag chair?
We have one with your name on it, Bruce. We
There
promise.
you go. There you go. I just want to thank the staff and everybody involved in New Jersey school boards for doing such a fantastic job. I want to thank Larry and Ray for all the things that you're allowing us to do on the Cal meetings. As you know, we've increased them. We're doing them every 2 weeks. The membership is very enthusiastic about it. A lot of our county leaders are now getting the emails from all our presidents in the district and emailing them exactly what went on in these Cal meetings. And it's very interesting how active they are getting, the county leaders. So kudos to them. Also, in our county meetings, there's very much upswing in attendance from other counties to counties that are having their meetings. So please keep it up. You know, this is, you don't have to travel. All you need to do is get online and you can go to any of those county meetings that are up and coming. And you can find them on the calendar or go to any specific county on school board's website. So thank you for everything you all do.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Vice President Bruce. We appreciate it. And now I'd like to hear from our Vice President for Finance, Ms. Tammy Smith.
Thank you so much. You know, I have to say it is so great to see everyone here this evening, and, you know, logging on is, you know, I would rather see you all in person, but it's great to see you here. I just wanted to say, as we all continue to navigate the challenges of these unprecedented times, I just want to say that, just like I always say at the county meetings, you all are amazing rock stars. I'm so proud to be part of this organization and to consider to be a colleague to you all. And as has already been said, let me just echo many thanks to Dr. Feinsod, many thanks to President Mike McClure, my fellow officers, and all the NJSBA staff and my fellow board members around the state for being engaged and resilient leaders during this pandemic. You all have exhibited tremendous leadership and helped to keep things moving forward in public education in a positive fashion and providing continuity for your students. So thank you all for your hard work, your diligence, and continued support of your districts and New Jersey's 1.4 million students. You all are the reason New Jersey is #1 in education in the country. So thank you all.
Thank you, Vice President Tammy. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Tammy. We're glad you're part of our family.
Yes, indeed. And now we'll move on to our immediate past president, Mr. Dan Sinclair, please.
Yeah, I want to just add my feelings about Jonathan, too. I'm very, very so happy that he has gotten this position, and he's already helped us at Lakeland do some really good things. We've had some really good results of some stuff that he helped us with. I wanted to talk tonight a little bit about the nominating committee and the idea of becoming an officer. I've done this for 6 years now as vice president of county activities, president, and now immediate past president. And I guess the most rewarding thing I ever did was serve as my school board president. But this certainly ranks right up there. These years as an officer in the NJSBA. So I would like to just take this opportunity to, remind you that everyone is able to apply for a position. And last year we had a lot of applicants, and it made it very, very difficult for us as a nominating committee because every one of the applicants was certainly, qualified to serve as an officer. So I would urge you to consider running. If you're not able to run, maybe someone on your board you think would be a good person to be a director, an officer. Urge you to run as well. So more about that process down the road. Back to you, Mike.
Well, thank you, Vice President Dan. Our immediate past president, Dan. I'm sorry, take that back.
Thank you, Dan.
We thank you for your help. We thank you for everything you do and your support as well. Finally, I'll speak a little bit to, I'm amazed by what this association has done, and the support of the staff here is just amazing the way we made the turnaround. So I am so thankful of them for their support. But most of all, I've never had the opportunity to attend as many meetings as I can because of the virtual. So I am attending a lot more of the county meetings and all. And what I'm getting at it as, because we have an increase in participation, is I'm seeing a lot of the concerns, a lot of what's going on in a lot of districts. And that is really helping me steer my town or my Board of Education on what I see is going as a whole. So I always look to take the positive out of everything that happens in life. And I'm saying, come to the meetings, look at all the boards, take on the training, and take those positives from it, because I'm telling you, when this is all over, we're going to be the best. We've been #1 for 2 years now. We're going to be for the next 4 because of what we do at the association, the board of directors, and all these board members in the state of New Jersey. We're going to stay right at the top. So I thank you for everything. With that being said, I'm going to move on to, is there any unfinished business out there that needs to be spoken? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business. Is there any new business to be had? Speaking? Anybody? Nope, I don't hear anything. Okay. So I want to give you a summary. The summaries, I want to reiterate that the members and alternates will be emailed key takeaway points from this meeting and a copy of the executive director's presentation, all of which you can use in making a report to your county associations. So at this time, I would take a motion to adjourn. You can't do it, Marcia.
Motion.
Second.
Motion?
Who made the motion, please? Name?
Jane from Bloomfield.
Okay. Can I have a second?
Second.
Say that again for the second, please.
Brendan Gallagher, Union.
Got it.
Thank you. Okay. All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
Bye. Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Enjoy the weather.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Bye-bye.